Howdy everyone. So this video's project is not going to be directly related to the running path, but similar to the washers pits video, this is going to be something that will be good for team gatherings, and that is to be making a fire pit. So yeah, let's start simple and put the fire ring together. I just ordered a smokeless fire pit ring off of Amazon, relatively cheap, so it'll probably rust and whatnot, but doesn't really matter. So yeah, let's start putting that together. Well, that was simple enough, pretty much foolproof. So now let's move outside for the next part of the project. So here are all the supplies that I got earlier today to make the fire pit. And this might not be everything, might need to grab a couple more things, but this is a good start anyways. But the next task is that I'm going to mark the center of the fire pit with a flag, and then mark the edges or the circumference with some more flags as well, just to get an idea of the visual of where it's at. And this spot's already pretty barren, but I do want to spray everything on the inside just to kill it all, and then I'm gonna have to wait a little while for all that stuff to die off, and then I'll make the fire pit. So a little ways away from actually making it, but just gotta get started with this first. So the fire ring itself has a 36-inch diameter on the inside, and then there's an extra 1.5 on the outside. There's going to be a slight gap between that and the retaining wall blocks, so that plus the 6.75 inches width of the retaining wall block, then it's going to be about a radius of like 27 inches. So I went ahead and measured 27 inches, and it turns out there's hardly anything alive inside that 36-inch or 27-inch radius. But there's some weeds on the outside, and I need to spray some other stuff anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray around that area a little bit. Simple as that, very small area, and now we play the waiting game for all that stuff to die off. All right, everybody, we are back to work on the fire pit finally after giving some time to kill off the weeds and grass in the area. So now we are on to a tedious part of that, and my retaining wall blocks all have kind of a lip on it, and I'm going to knock all of those off. So yeah, I've got 42 of these things, so it's gonna take me a little while. All right, now that's 42 lips knocked off of retaining wall blocks. So it actually went by kind of quicker than I thought it would. Now I'm gonna bring out the fire ring and kind of just get a visual of what things are gonna look like, and then I'm probably gonna start digging a little bit. So first I'm just gonna place this bottom row of retaining wall blocks and get them spaced out how I want them, and get the right radius to put the fire ring on the inside. And I'm gonna leave some gaps in that bottom row as well, because we want there to be some airflow going underneath. Then I'm going to place fire ring inside, and then I've got this landscaping barrier that I'm going to put around the edge, because I think outside of the retaining wall blocks I'm probably going to have a little area of rock. So yeah, let's get a visual for that, and then we'll start digging. Pretty happy with how all the materials worked out. 20 feet of that landscaping barrier was just right. So yeah, I'm gonna get a little more exact here and make sure I'm measuring in the right spots and digging out close to a perfect circle. But yeah, that's the next step. Got the very outside circumference marked where the landscaping barrier is going to be, so I'll start digging out around that area, and then I can pull those flags out. And then I don't know if I'll mark the inner circumference or not. I might need to, because I might be digging at different depths in different areas. So yeah, but let's get on to this initial bout of digging. So that's it for most of the initial digging. Still got some more to do. I'm sure I got to dig down a little deeper in some spots, but got around the circumference and got a layer removed from the whole circle. So that's a good start. Glad to be done with a lot of that, because that's probably the most physically demanding part, I imagine. I'll be honest, I'm not like super confident in what I'm doing with making this fire pit, but I've watched all kinds of videos and tried to figure it out and grasp the concepts of everything. But yeah, I'm sweating a lot right now. It's not even that hot out right now, but just really humid, I guess, and working hard. So yeah, that's probably it for this evening. Gonna be dark soon, so I'll probably hold off until tomorrow to really get to more work on this thing. So we're back at it the next day. Hopefully we can get this fire pit done today, but we'll see. So gonna start off with more digging today. We got a little bit of rain last night, a little over an inch, so I've got some water in the pit right now, but not a ton. But yeah, gonna dig some more, and the idea behind that is to be able to replace a lot of that dirt, which a lot of it's kind of clay type soil underneath. So replace a lot of that with gravel and rock and paver base, and then hopefully that helps it drain better. So I'm going to keep digging, and then I'm going to dig even deeper for a section in the very middle where I'll fill that with gravel as well. So then, like I said, hopefully it just drains decently well. Okay, so I think I'm content with the digging now. So I'm gonna go unload this dirt from my tractor, and then I'm gonna bring over some loads of gravel. The gravel I'm gonna use initially is just the cheap stuff that has been out here from the previous owner before I start using the paver base and paver sand, but because I don't have enough paver base and paver sand to fill up everything. But I wanna mainly get this big hole filled in the middle with the gravel, and then I'll lay a small layer, a thin layer, across the whole thing of that gravel before I start using the paver base. One bucket load ended up covering quite a bit more than I thought it would, so almost done with that. I'm gonna go get a little bit more, I think, to top it off, at least that first layer, and then I'll tamp that down and then start laying the paver base on top of that. So now that's it for the tamping of that layer. Honestly, that's probably what I'm grabbing out of the rock pile. Probably is like basically a paver base, but it's got some thicker pieces of gravel in there, so kind of wasted money on this paver base, but not exactly, just because I won't have any of the really thick pieces of gravel in that paver base. So yeah, I'm gonna get a layer of paver base on there, and now it's time to make sure it's level. So that's the goal with the paver base, to level it out. Okay, so now we're done with spreading. I ended up using all 6 bags of my paver base that I got, so 3 cubic feet, and happy with how it looks, and seems to be pretty level in the middle. I could probably use a longer level, but that's okay. It'll suffice. So yeah, before the next step, let's go inside for something real quick. Had to take a water break. Sweating a lot out there. Okay, very short break is over. Back to work. Now the next step is I'm going to put the fire ring in the middle and make sure it's all centered up. And then I'm going to put the first layer of landscaping blocks around that. And then I can take the ring out, and I'm going to go through each block individually and make sure it's level and kind of hopefully set into the paver base pretty well. So hopefully there's not too much settling and whatnot. But yeah, then once all those are level, then I'll start being able to build the next 2 layers on top of that. First layer of blocks placed with 4 different gaps in the bottom. I kind of wish I had like a rubber mallet to pound those into the ground a little bit, but I'll try to just like stomp on them a little bit and see if that can get them set into the paver base a little bit. Okay, so I'm not totally on right now because the ring is a little too snug. I can't make it much less snug, but I have a little bit of room. But basically, when there's no gaps, so basically on the second and third row of blocks, I'm supposed to be able to fit 14 blocks, and I've only got 13, and then I've got a small gap in each one that I need to fill in with something, but I don't know if I can make the circle wide enough to be able to fit another block and for the ring to be able to sit on top, but I don't know. I'm gonna mess around with it and see if I can come up with something. So I think what I really need to fix this issue would be a fire ring with a slightly wider rim on top, so then I could space the bricks out a little bit more to squeeze in one more brick, but that's not happening at this stage in the game. So I kind of reconfigured that second row a little bit. I don't really like the first and second row and how they mesh up, just because of how there's gaps in the first row. I can't get them like perfectly staggered all the way around from the first row to the second row, but it is what it is. But what I'm going to try to do is make a custom fit block to fit in that gap on the second and third row. So not sure if I can pull this off, but I'm going to give it a shot. All right, second cut went pretty well. First one was a little messy, but got her done eventually. So moment of truth, let's see if she works. Well, look at that, pretty close. So it can squeeze in there, and then I can make some small adjustments to make it slightly tighter around the ring, and it'll be good to go. So pretty happy with that. Now I'm just gonna have to do that one more time for the top ring. So that actually went better than I thought it would. So now the next step is there's this gap from the ground up to the bottom of the fire ring, and now I'm gonna fill that in. So I think I'm gonna use some of these paver stones, 12 by 12 paver stones. I'm gonna put like 4 of them and stagger them a little bit, keep a little gap in between them. And then I think I'm gonna throw some paver sand in there and hopefully fill up to the top of that, or to the bottom of the fire ring. So yeah, and then when I do that, that'll almost be done. Okay, so that's it for that step done. So I've got the sand piled up to where it gets to the ring, but not above the holes, so the airflow can still happen. Not sure about sand being the base layer. It should be fine theoretically, I think. It should be good for draining. I think the only issue is just like when you get to trying to clean out ash, you'll probably take some sand with you, but I don't know. If I'm not satisfied with how that turns out, that's a pretty easy fix of just getting most of it out of there and then putting something else in there. So, I mean, I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to be like great for removing ash, because if you have a bunch of rocks in there, you'll still take the rocks with you, and it'll be just harder to get a clean scoop, I guess. And then you don't want bricks being the base layer unless it's like heat resistant bricks, but you know, those will crack eventually if they're not made for really hot stuff. So yeah, okay, so the next thing I'm going to do here is place the landscaping barrier around the outside, and then that'll pretty much be it for this project for now. I don't have anything. I debated just putting in some cheap gravel that I already have around the edge, but I don't know, I might get some decorative rock or something. I'm gonna put the landscape barrier in there and see how it looks from there. Well, I don't have any decorative rock right now, and I said I was probably just going to do that some other time, but I don't want to leave this video with an unfinished project, so I think I'm gonna go pick some up and bring it back and finish it up. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm not going anywhere. I did the math and I was probably gonna need about 4 cubic feet roughly, or 8 bags of some type of stone, and that was gonna be, I don't know, about 50 bucks or something. So I'm gonna go the cheap route and just take gravel from my pile and throw it in there. I'm not too worried about it looking like amazing. It'll still look all right, but yeah, that's the route I'm going. Obviously it would have looked better with some decorative rock around the outside, but obviously I also don't care that much right now. So it won't affect the functionality of it, so that'll be fine. And that's another thing that I could just easily change in the future if I want to. But yeah, it's nice to have another project for the farm checked off the list. And we'll see what the functionality of this thing's like. Not sure when I'll get a fire going out here, but and I'm sure some problems will also be exposed when I get a hard rain and some areas washing out, but nothing, probably won't be anything too serious, but should drain pretty well, should be pretty functional. Excited to get to use it at some point. So that'll do it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.